Hello, citizens of Gotham. My name is Graham Elwood. You are watching The Political Vigilante. That's me. There's my big head next to this head. We're working on a new graphic. There it is right there, guys. There was an article in Mother Jones about the amount of toxic wastewater produced by fracking. And it's unbelievable. That's the title of the article. The amount of wastewater produced by fracking is unbelievable. These statistics are pretty alarming. It's a new study. It's stuff a lot of we've already known, but we just need more of these studies and more information to just let people know that fracking is just bad. It's bad across the board. Part of the problem is there's no federal laws. There were some by Obama, but then our good old friend Scotty Pruitt takes over the EPA, and then he just, I hate the environment. So it's up to local and state governments to pass laws to regulate it. Here's some stats. Fracking companies use 770% more water per well in 2016 than in 2011 across the United States, major gas and oil producing regions, according to a new study. The number of new fracking wells decreased as gas prices fell, but the amount of water used per well skyrocketed, with up to 1,440% more toxic wastewater generated in the first year of each new well's production period by 2016. Again, that's with Obama, who, had some little Band-Aid on a shotgun wound style environmental legislation. He passed some good, decent legislation, but not enough. He didn't make it so difficult for the next president to try to undo what he did. He could have. He had the House and the Senate. He could have done that. But when you have sellout Democrats like Heidi Heitkamp and Joe Manchin and everybody else, it's just unbelievable. And it's more information and motivation for all of us to fight this on a local level, since there is no federal. Imagine if we had a progressive in the White House right now, what the EPA might look like. What the Secretary of Education might look like. I doubt that person would have 10 yachts. I doubt it. I doubt that person who's in charge of the EPA would be from, fracking places that hates the environment. In regions where the warming climate is drying sources of fresh water, fracking intensifies its pressure on already strained system while increasing the availability of fuels that cause emissions, speeding up the rise in temperatures. So that's helping make the drought areas in the West that are having these awful wildfires. Last summer was the worst ever in California. This summer is now the worst. Is that where each summer we're just going to have the worst wildfire ever from the year prior? And fracking is contaminating water and taking water away, so we don't even have the water to fight this, which then also increases emissions that makes things drier, and the cycle of that continues. Fracking also produces huge volumes of wastewater laced with cancer-causing chemicals, salts, and naturally occurring radioactive material that can cause earthquakes. Yeah, fracking increases earthquakes and contaminate aquifers when pumped underground. It just keeps feeding itself. The fact that it's all connected as to why things are getting worse is also where the solution is. We ban fracking. We get off of oil. We just get off of oil. We go to all these green technologies. We build a network of pipelines for water. The flooding areas send water to the dry areas. Right? Anybody get any heaven rains? Send that water to the west where all the fires are. Less CO2, we got to reduce CO2 emissions. All of this stuff. The solution can fix all of this. Jobs, the environment, healthcare issues, all this toxic water, there's no way that's like making healthcare costs decrease. Read this. The demand for water, driven largely by agriculture, is on pace to increase by 55% globally between 2000 and 2050. Food production already accounts for 70% of water withdrawals around the world, but by some estimates, farmers need to increase water use by 69% to feed the total global population by the year 2035. It's only 17 years away. That's not that long ago. 17 years ago, 9/11 happened. Doesn't seem that long ago. Now, does it? This could reach just global catastrophe. It already is, but it's going to just keep getting worse. And I'm sorry, but the goddamn Democratic Party that allowed Trump to happen by cheating in the primary, by running a bunch of corporate candidates that take corporate money, that refuse to just like, well, oh, you know, we gotta play ball. No, you gotta stand hard, way left and say, we're not acquiescing on the environment. We're not doing it. We're not acquiescing on healthcare. We're not doing it. We're not acquiescing on workers' rights. We're not shipping jobs overseas. We're not letting the Clintons and the Bushes just ship out, just globalize the world with their bullshit so corporations can make more profits while American workers get screwed. And then just go plunder third world countries for their resources. But contaminated water isn't just from fracking. Fracking isn't the only source of contaminants putting stress on water systems. The study comes amid rising concerns over perfluorinated chemicals, including compounds used in firefighting foam and non-stick Teflon in water sources across the country. Firefighting foam? So if we're taking away the water in drought areas, so then the firefighting foam, you see how everything negatively feeds itself? And the solution, everything would positively feed itself? But this is what we need to do. A growing number of states are setting strict new limits on the cancer-causing chemicals which remain in the water for decades. But the EPA has yet to regulate perfluorinated chemicals and went as far as to suppress a federal report that recommended lowering the maximum limit by nearly 7 times the current standard. I'm so goddamn tired of the Democrats smearing and not supporting progressives. If that party can't get its shit together, all right, they got rid of the superdelegates, we'll see. There's probably a bunch of other bullshit rules in place to screw over a progressive. See, this is what happens when you play this corporate bullshit two-party game. Because that's the thing. People say, well, God, if Bernie would have won, would he ever get anything done? His whole cabinet would be progressives. Who do you think would be running the EPA? Wouldn't be an oil guy, I tell you that much. His whole cabinet would be progressives. They would be progressive. Their economic policy would be progressive. Their environmental policy would be progressive. Their foreign policy would be progressive. You see that? And if Bernie was leading in the polls, they would have voted in more progressives into the House and Senate. And if they didn't, Bernie would be right now saying, vote for this. It's why we got to get behind people like Ocasio-Cortez. Kenneth Mejia is running in the 34th district in California's 34th for Congress. He is a Green and he's running against a Democrat. California has a top 2 system. He beat a Republican for the 2nd spot. So now the Democrat can't just say, oh, you got to vote for me because we got to fight Trump. That Democrat actually has to campaign. They can't just say we got to fight Trump. A Green candidate isn't going to be fighting Trump? Of course he is. Find these candidates and get behind them. so that we can pass this legislation everywhere. And thank you for supporting the show, you guys. Could use a little love on patreon.com/Graham Elwood. The link is below. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. YouTube keeps unsubscribing people, and hit the bell for notifications when I do the live chats every weekend. I usually do them Saturday or Sunday. Join me, spread the word. We're all political vigilantes.